Welcome back to Dolor Factor Live. We've opened the telephone lines for you now, so if you have a question that you'd like to ask Glen or Dawn, whether it's about first aiding or whether it's about when you're going to crowded events, then you can give us a call and let us know what your thoughts are on that. And maybe some experiences, things that you have seen or you witnessed and you thought, well, that was a really good way of dealing with this, or no, this was a really bad way of dealing with this. Now, in the break we were talking about the concern that I'm feeling at the moment, that we are quite limited if something happens. I mean, how will the hospitals deal with it?
There are always protocols.
Yep.
What we have to do is review those protocols. So right now the theaters, according to the news article, are closed because of mold. But emergency surgery will take place. Mm-hmm. So what they're not doing is elective surgery. Okay. So they're doing emergency surgery. So if you have a mass casualty situation, it qualifies as emergency surgery.
It does.
Now, there are also other theaters on the island which are factored in when you're doing the formula. So it's not just the theaters at VH, but it's a theater at Tapion and at St. Jude that come into play as well. But also, as Glen and I were saying, push come to shove and it's really, you know, it overwhelms the theaters anyway. You open a field hospital and you do it in the field, because you're battling to save a life. Mm-hmm. And if I think two theaters at VH, is it one at Tapion, one at St. Jude, 4 theaters, and we need more than 4 theaters in play. We start doing it in the field.
All right, so there's nothing to worry about.
We will do what in terms of nothing to worry about, we're not happy with what it is now. We prefer what it was last night and not tonight.
Yes.
But God forbid that, you know, tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock I get a phone call that something has happened, and when we jump into action. Yes. We will do what we have to do to save our people.
Of course.
But as the director of NEMO, Dawn, what is your greatest fear
in a mass
situation?
Is becoming a CNN headline, for lack of a better phrase, because you see it in the news that, you know, somebody had some pyrotechnic in a disco in Brazil and 1,000 people died in the fire. A stage collapsed in at a state fair in New York, and how many people injured. Match. And you know, it's interesting because this year is 40 years of the upper floor of the Teachers Training College collapsing for a beauty contest. And we actually ran the press release earlier this year. And I'm sure there are people in the audience are going, oh yes, I was at that show. And there were about 200 people at what was then the Teachers Training College for a beauty contest. And the floor went down with them. And all 200 people ended up at Victoria Hospital. So, you know, those kind of scenarios, and we're playing Russian roulette. The emergency services are praying to every god they know that the game we are playing does not unfold as it should, because really some of the event planners are really taking a joke too far. And we're running some of the events under dangerous conditions. I need to qualify and say that some event planners do take it serious and they come to us way in advance. But you know those who are not serious, who come 24 hours before. And really, it takes months to plan a show. And you come in the day before to the emergency services for support for your show. That sends a very specific message to me as director, NEMO.
Glen, what
I think
thoughts?
for us is that because we have never maybe experienced something like the what we see on TV, becoming the CNN headline, we become lackadaisical about those situations. And again, not that we're asking, but then we need to be prepared that if we've ever faced with that type of situation, that we're prepared to handle it.
That we have minimal injury and death.
Exactly. And I think we start to take it for granted, and we start to believe that it is not going to happen. But the reality is that it may happen, and then being prepared for it is the better way to go.
Some of the event planners are actually resentful when the fire service and solid waste management and the police start to tell them you need to have these protocols, and they start to get annoyed.
Very much so.
And complain bitterly that they're just a Maliwe trying to hold a show. But then you have to explain to them that if you put the things in place and you have a safe show, think about what happens if you don't have a safe show and what your liability and sometimes your financial cost will have to be if someone gets injured on your property, because the fire service will tell you you are responsible for the person that comes onto your property from the time they set the foot there till they leave.
But at this moment in time then, say for example, I want to, as an events organizer, I want to hold an event at a certain venue, but when I've gone to inspect it, there's something wrong with it, and I think, well, I'd love this, but I would like the owner to repair it. If the owner says, no, I'm not going to repair it, is there anything that I could do to say, well, look, I think you should be shut down, I think that it's unsafe? Could you report this person?
To the fire service. To the
Okay.
fire service. But also, as an event planner, if that scenario given, go look for another venue.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Now, earlier we were talking about tagging people. Where do children come in all this? If a child is there and they seem in shock, but they're not bleeding, is that an emergency?
Shock is considered to be a life-threatening situation because what happens is it's lack of oxygen again to the vital organs. So therefore, if the vital organs shut down, then your casualty is most likely going to die. However, when it comes to prioritizing, like Dawn mentioned earlier, where persons are tagged, as a first responder and being able to respond to when you have multiple casualties, is that you need to try to identify your casualty situation. And again, you're able to identify by what you see and what the person may tell you that they're feeling. You need to look for the life-threatening ones, and these become your top priority. And those are the people who need your help now and transportation to the hospital. Your second priority would be those who can wait at least an hour and nothing serious is going to happen to them. And your least priority would be those with minor injuries, like scrapes and bruises, or those who are obviously dead. Now, a first aider does not know dead persons, but obviously dead to a first aider is a body that does not have a head on there. So a first aider goes out to help a casualty. So even if you see a motionless body, that doesn't mean that that person is dead. You still need to respond to that person. Most likely, that's the person who needs your help the quickest. Like Dawn and I were discussing earlier on, probably the ones who are screaming and yelling.
It's a rule of thumb.
Yes.
The person making the most noise needs the least help.
The least, yes.
And the person who is quiet in the corner is
the one
that
who actually
needs the help.
The quickest, yes.
Never
So
thought about that,
these are
but
some
makes
of the
sense.
ways that you're able to identify your casualties and now to prioritize as to who are the persons that you want to go to first, second, and so forth.
Well, we've been talking a lot about all different things, and I'm just saying to viewers, if you have anything that you want, I'm surprised. It seems you know it all, or perhaps we're doing it so well, as a lot of people say. They say, but you guys do all well. You ask all the right questions, and we're just listening. But you know, this is your opportunity. You don't always get the opportunity to ask specific questions and things that you want to know the answers to. So use this time to do so.
The triaging is a constant, because when you have those, and you know, in the scenario I gave you of the teachers training college, where all 200 persons ended up at the hospital, that would not happen now. That would not happen now if the protocols as they were there are, and not just St. Lucia, it's an international.
It is.
In that case, they brought the victims to the hospital. What we do now is we bring the hospital to the victims. So they set up what's called an advanced medical post. So the first wave of first responders go out and they tag people, and the reds are brought to the advanced medical post. Then they are prioritized again. And the more and so the reds of the reds get put into the ambulance and taken to the hospital. When they get to casualty, they are then triaged again. So that's a third triage. So the real reds get into the theater.
That's good to know.
So
all
that's
right,
how it operates.
that's good to know. People, you have your last opportunity to give us a call after the break. This is Dolor Factor Live. We'll see you soon.